Guys, for our presentation, we went to Puchong. We visited the atmosphere. Over here, we kind of explored the various. It's this building filled with mural art done by various artists from around Malaysia and internationally. So, the next slide. So basically, what is mural art? In accordance to this definition, mural art is a piece of artwork that has a characteristic that is used in accordance to the architecture. What it does is it gives a new definition to architecture. It collaborates with architecture to create something beautiful and visually aesthetic, pleasing.
Next slide, please. Okay, introducing the interpretation of Michelle Yeoh, her interpretation of Hansel and Gretel. So, from what you can see here, it's just a painting with a pink background peering through a crack in the wall. So, about Michelle Yeoh, about the artist, she graduated from the One Academy with a diploma in digital animations, and she's one of the new artists in the new wave of mural paintings. So, I'll show you some of the concepts introduced into the painting. We have interpersonal communication, which is communication between one another, between a human being and another, or an animal. Physical distraction, something physical, an object that you're distracted to that pulls your attention. We have perception, active perception, which your mind selects things or cues from visual cues, maybe audio cues, and they focus on that. We have connotative meaning. It's like deeper things, what you can associate it with. And gestures, which are non-verbal communications, such as hi, you. So we'll go back to the picture to relate. So the first, interpersonal communication, which is the communication between brother and sister. We can assume it's brother and sister because it's Hansel and Gretel, right? I mean, it wouldn't be husband, wife, I don't know. So yeah, you can see that they're communicating. To what they see. Okay, and our next point would be physical distraction. You can tell that he's distracted from what is behind the crack. Some pink candy land, like what is this? And you can see that she's distracted by the balloons instead because she's, I don't know, maybe she's distracted. She's like probably 4 years old or something. I don't know. So perception, active perception. What you can pick up, what you feel. So what do you feel when you look at this photo? What do you feel?
Colorful.
Yeah, it's colorful. Okay, so there's a sense of naivety. You can tell that it's naive and at the same time mysterious. Because what would you expect behind a crack in a wall? Maybe a different neighborhood or a road, but no, it's a candy land. So next is connotative meaning. So from the story of Hansel and Gretel, you can tell that they found candy house made of candy in the woods. Like who would expect that? So you can tell that it's like a disattachment from reality, or maybe it's salvation from them, for them. Okay? And gestures, non-verbal communications. You can see that you can't really see facial communication in here. So you can tell by their body language that they're curious, and yeah, it just adds a sense of mystery behind it. So moving on to next artwork.
Alright, for my artwork, the name of my artist is Kang Blah Blah. Yeah, his real name is actually Julius Raja Manikam. So he's a really young dude, and his aim is actually to express and tell stories through his medium of artwork. He enjoys creating characters and giving them life, as it makes him feel like a god. It's his own kingdom, therefore he feels like it's his medium of expression to the world. So in this piece, the description that I have come up with is that the description that best describes is that I've used the theme of knowledge, and it's because there's books surrounded him. So I said we gain knowledge from various sources. Most of it comes from the books we read. The idea that sometimes we get entrapped on a pedestal of knowledge. He makes us feel as though he is godlike, but to what extent is the thirst of knowledge quenched by one book itself? As you can see, it's emphasized throughout the picture with the use of various books. The concepts in this mural are non-verbal message, passive perception, which is in terms of senses, multitasking, in particular continuous partial multitasking, mental distraction, and interpretation. Okay, now for the first one, non-verbal messages, basically there are barely any text that's written. It's mostly about his facial expressions, right? This guy represents the king of knowledge. That's why he's up on a pedestal. But if you focus properly at him, he's actually writing down something. He has a small pen over there that he's writing. So he's not only reading, but he's also composing. He's also writing something. So he's working in two sets of mind, and both of which we are unable to actually observe. It's just visually impaired, and we already understand it by just using the simple drawing of a pencil and the fact that he's sitting on books. This picture speaks for itself. It uses colors and facial expressions. The books in the air are floating, which represents his state of mind. While he's writing, he's thinking about all kinds of different topics and sources, hence represented by the different types of books. Also, if you look at this, the coolest part is that over here, it says take a step. So actually, if you step on that, he's actually looking at you. He straight away is staring at your face. So he's already indirectly focusing on you without you even being there. So that's the beauty of this artwork. Next we have mental distractions. Again, emphasized by the use of the books and the way he's gazing. He's able to write and look around at the same time. He's distracted. He's not only mentally distracted, but he's also physically distracted. He's detached by the various books, and this could depict the type of communication we have. Sometimes when we are talking about a specific topic, a new thought comes and booms in our head, and therefore our thought process always gets deviated. It's almost impossible for us to think about one particular thing and continue throughout that thought process. There's always new kinds of trances coming in and out. Right? Next, we have passive perception. So this is the use of the box, and the idea that when standing on the box, he's looking at you. It gives you that 3D effect. It gives you that he's already waiting for you. What it does automatically is it creates that inquisitiveness inside of us to want to take that stand to find out what exactly is going on. And it also captivates us because even if the painting is boring, the fact that it's an object present, something that we can touch, we can interact it, becomes much more easier for us to understand. So it's a really effective way to communicate using passive perception and the senses we see, we touch, that kind of thing. Then we have multitasking. Again, just the same thing. He's able to write and think about various things happening at the same time. I've used partial continuous multitasking. Okay, this is basically multitasking when things aren't studied in depth. See, when he's doing this, you can't really multitask and do something in depth by doing various topics. It's the same thing with a conversation or a communication. You can only communicate to a certain extent on the basis of some foundation. In order to go in depth, you have to just focus on that particular topic. So that's what's represented in this. Next, we have interpretation. This is open to everybody. Everybody has their own interpretation of anything. It's up to us. He can write what he's writing, but once he's done writing it, we read it, we could come up with something completely different. It's the same thing with language, our basis form of communication. The moment we start talking, someone else could interpret differently according to our facial expressions, our gestures. So it is a very a naive view, but it's also all we have in order to talk. Next.
So unlike the previous murals, this mural has a very literal meaning. You can see the situation that's happening here doesn't have a really deep meaning. So it's by Angel Ng. She has a major in film and animation, and now she's a newbie in mural painting. This mural depicts communication becomes less efficient and more expressive in times of distress. Body language and screams are probably the best way to attract attention in stressful situations. So you can see the boy here, the girl is screaming for help and the guy is pointing towards her and he's trying to say that she needs help, and if you stand here, it looks like you're trying to help her. So there are 6 concepts here. The first is selective attention. So he could have been doing something at home, but then when he hears her shout for help, he selects to attend to her instead of doing what he was doing before that. The next is negative positive connotation. In this mural is negative connotation. When she shouts that fire or it's hot here, it invokes a very negative and a feeling of panic in him, and so he decides to help her. The next is the concept of distance proxemics. He lives very near to her, but he moves closer to her and helps her when he shouts fire. The next is active perception. The meaning is a process which your mind selects, organizes, and interprets which you sense. So here the sense is hearing and the sense of feeling. So when she feels that it's hot, he perceives it as a state of panic and he helps her. The next is conflict. So the conflict here is the fire. So the communication happens with the occurrence of a conflict. The last is gesture. So you can see he's pointing towards her and she's doing a gesture of putting her hand up and calling for help.
Okay, so next, okay, you can be seen that this is a type of an olden days communication where you use the cup, you connect, we use two cups and you connect the string, and you can be seen that Bridget is, there's something wrong with this picture, right? Right, Mr. Jana? There's something wrong with this picture, right? I hope you are paying attention.
No, actually I wanted to check on your selective attention.
Okay, so in this picture you can see that the girl in the mirror is listening and Bridget is also listening. So no one is actually talking, but just ignore the fact, okay? Let's say that the girl is talking to Bridget, okay? We'll put in this situation. Okay, so about the artist of this mural, okay? The artist is actually he actually works with the design studio with Kingsley, Grisel, Richard, Colin, and Jason. And you can see, like what I said before, that this is the type of olden day communication. So communication can evolve over time, and so like today we are using mobile phones. Last time there's no mobile phones, right? So this was one of the earliest type of communication there is. So for the concepts, we have 5 concepts that you can find in this mural. The first is voice, alright, it's a type of non-verbal communication. Second is distance. Third would be passive perception. Fourth is pseudo-listening. And the last would be face-to-face communication. I'm going to explain briefly what does this concept mean to this mural. So going back to the mural, we'll start with the concept voice. Voice, as in the non-verbal communication term, and like I said, pretend the girl is speaking to Bridget, okay, and Bridget is listening to what the girl is trying to say. So Bridget agrees to what the girl is trying to say, and she responds to the girl by just saying, by just agreeing like, So that is a type of non-verbal. She did not say any word, she did not reply to the girl. And second is distance. So you can see that there is distance between Bridget and the girl when they speak. So, and with this type of communication, there's no need to scream from one point to another. So you can say anything secretly through this type of communication. So that's the distance. Next is passive perception. So passive perception meaning how you understand the meaning through your senses. So whatever the girl is trying to tell Bridget, she is trying to understand what the girl is trying to say and using her hearing senses. And the fourth would be pseudo-listening. Pseudo-listening means pretend to listen. The girl could be talking to Bridget, okay? The cup is next to Bridget's ear, but maybe Bridget's mind is wandering somewhere else but not listening to the girl. So she's trying to pretend to listen. And this relates to the first concept, which is voice. So because she pretends to listen, she just agrees and like just trying to fake like, I'm agreeing with you, right? And the last is face-to-face communication. Okay, although they're not looking face-to-face, But by doing this type of communication using the cups and the string, you actually your instincts will actually make you look at another person when you speak, when you talk, because you're just a few meters away from that person. So that is the 5 concepts of this mural here.
That's the end of our presentation, and now we're just going to go through like a few of the other murals that we went through, that we saw at the place, just to give you an idea. So that's a real card that's actually sticking out of the wall. Everything is like super. Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah, that's like a real card sticking out of the wall. Everything there is super like how do I say? The whole place is really cool. It's like 10 minutes from it in Puchong. Like seriously, for murals, you guys should check this place out. It's really cool. I wanna just go through our.
What's the name of the space? Where?
The atmosphere.
Artsphere and the atmosphere. Yeah. This place is called Artsphere. Atmosphere is like kind of like those shop lots, like it's like you know where Sunway Giza? Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is which part of Puchong?
Actually not in Puchong. It's in Sri Kembangan.
Same thing.
Yeah, but it's after Puchong. Yeah.
This is a free space there.
Yeah, it's like on the wall. It's so cool. Alright, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
I'm camera shy.